to another episode of Product Like It's Friday on an actual Friday. So today, it's not just me. Adnan is on his way, but he has a day job that he needs to attend to for just a little bit. So I'm just going to open it up by sharing a little bit about where we left off last Friday and what we've done since. So I was just looking at the last recording. Oh,
Oh,
oh hello.
what?
Hello. I did not even get started. I was just
Let's
saying
go.
that I'm gonna do a quick recap of what we did last Friday and what's happened since. I was actually scrubbing through the last episode, like from last Friday, and I was kind of in awe of how much has changed since then.
What happened last Friday? I don't even remember. Honestly, it's unclear to me where we were last Friday. Do you have a screenshot or something that we can
Yes,
use as comparison? I think that'd be cool.
yes. This is the part where I did not take, uh, you know, I did not take a record of what we did because I'm a bad designer.
Did I say that? And if I didn't, I'll say it next time.
I don't think you did, but
Okay, all
that's
right.
because you're nice.
That's
Devotion.
not. That's I could change.
So this is where we left off
Oh,
last Friday,
yeah, yeah.
um, and I think I was. I don't know if anybody else can tell, but I was like struggling with like this whole streaming while designing thing.
Mhm.
Um, oh, I guess this is the one artifact left from this era. um, what we've done since. So I think Adnan, you've been coding every day, right? Since then,
Yes.
and I've also taken some next steps towards just more refined designs as we go. So I'm just gonna quickly walk through them. Just a quick note. I'm trying to organize the chaos a little bit, like calling them V1, V2, etc. But I don't think it's strictly linear. So the first version after that initial disaster is this, which is honestly pretty close to where we landed. Um, so I think it just needed the, I don't know, the leap or whatever of using the Nuxt cards and using more of the default font, at least to start. Um, and then incorporating some visuals just to play with like different elements. I think my thinking at the time was like, oh, it could be cute if like a kid is walking across the screen with the progress bar. Um,
And has your thinking changed?
it has evolved. I
And
guess
I'm
it
curious to
changed.
understand why, because you had this instinct of putting, like what led to the decision of going with this, or shifting from this image to the one that you have in the latest version.
Yeah, I guess I can quickly just go through the iterations. Here, I really like the visuals because it's like this hand drawn style that match with the font that we were
Right.
choosing as well. Um, but because we may or may not choose this font, and um, you know, I think the audience also matter in that like perhaps older kids would find that maybe the style of art is too childish.
Mm.
And because of that, I shifted towards more, I don't know, age flexible, I guess, imagery. But I think we also talked about like the potential for like different themes as a future idea. And then this is, I think, V2, which is honestly pretty similar to like where we ended up. We spent a bit of time trying to find the one moment of absolute harmony. I think this we did off stream. I think.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think we got it. I think we got it for now. For now, we can always tweak it as we go. And I think the biggest change from V2 to the latest version is rather than having the teacher say correct, correct on the screen, the flow is more like you reveal the answer and then you know reveal whether the student was correct or incorrect. This is because why 3 plus 8 is a simple question. Where is the other example?
Mm-hmm.
I would, okay, maybe I will be able to answer this question, but if another question comes up, I probably, if I'm a teacher, would be like, this is too hard. I don't want to like create the answer in my own head. Like I'm not the one competing here. So I would want to see the answer and then say, okay, Mary's answer, was that correct or incorrect? And that's where we are in terms of design. My next steps are, what are my next steps? I think my next steps were like thinking about like how to like preview players at this stage. So just more like a confirmation type situation, to make Adnan's life easier, so that the teacher doesn't have to like deal with editing players when they've already been assigned IDs. Is my understanding? Is that
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would just be a simpler way of approaching it right now.
And then I think the other thing that I was gonna tackle is to think about like what that final like these are the players remaining screen can look like, in terms of like a leaderboard or whatever it is. Yeah, I think that's where I'm at. What about you?
I think for me, I actually don't know off the top. I think yesterday I remember saying something that I would be working on next, but almost literally coming into any one of these sessions, I'm almost blank. I'm just like, come in, review, what do I need to do? And it seems like, let me just get a
Maybe the timer, was it?
yeah, it was the timer. Yeah, this was like, what am I doing next? It is the timer, because yesterday we completed a functional timer, but it's not quite at the level of visual capacity that it needs to be. So probably, yeah, playing around with the timer, because we did incorrect, correct. We did all those,
Yeah.
and then after the timer, I guess it's maybe some cleanup work, and then discovering how we can manage those questions in a more templated format, which to me will be like the largest task that we move on to, like the next largest thing that we do.
Yeah, I think once I have more of the designs that I just described fleshed out, I will then start looking into latex and
Cool.
whatever other research as we go. Do you want to, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Do you want to share just like a quick recap of where the live product is?
Yeah, let's do that.
And also, how are you? Do you have a snack today?
I have some. Just allow me to. I have some yogurt. It's like a protein extra, like low sugar.
Too.
Low sugar, extra protein.
Okay, I have just the regular Greek yogurt.
That's also higher in protein. Although that one's
Okay.
not. Yeah. Although I feel like that brand is not low in sugar. Not that it matters if you care about it or not. So it depends. But this is a fairly lower calorie, high protein snack that doesn't taste like you want to throw up. So, highly recommended. Although I don't know that we should do unsponsored brand promotion to our, two or three viewers.
We are not promoting these brands. Don't buy them, please.
It's too late. I feel like, yeah, exactly. It's like, I really enjoy it, but you shouldn't. That's what we're saying. Okay. So the live game is at this stage where we have, and if you'll notice that Mary did redesign this interface and is working on this aspect. The generate player buttons, I guess, will go away once this is actually live. And then here are your students. You submit, kind of you're ready to start the game or edit players, and this is the step at which, at this point, this is just like a review screen. These have not been created in the database. And now when you start the game, there's a game ID, so a game has been created, and all of these players are actually in the database, which is at this point, editing becomes like just a bit more involved than the screen before. And then from here, you go ahead and you start the game. You can see that there's a highlight happening here, question, and a timer running as well. And once we're ready to reveal the answer, how much time it took to get to the reveal answer point is stored in the database. Everyone can see the correct answer, and now the teacher can mark it as correct or incorrect. And then we show, hopefully we'll have some transition and animated sadness here. And now we can move on to the next person. And you can see here that if you're eliminated, there's an indication that you're gone, and then correct, and we move on, and so forth, so on until the rounds are done. We have a summary here. And then what else? I believe that's really it. I haven't gotten to the stage of one thing that I haven't really tested or worked on in a while, so maybe I'll try and quickly get us there. And later on, I'll create fewer generated players so I can just get there in like 2 or 3 steps. Is kind of the end game situation. So this is the last student, and I think so this button I need to change. This is the finish round button where we're ready to move on. And now there's an end game button here, which should just show these 4 players. So round 2 only has these 4 players, and the rest of them are not visible anymore. And when we go to end game, there's no attention been paid to the screen from a design perspective or a visual perspective here. So this is sort of one remaining aspect. And I think now we're in a better position to work on it, and from I guess for Mary to kind of work on it and put some more attention here. But essentially, I just dumped the remaining active players, right? And that's all the screen is at this point. And that's our functional game thus far. What are we going to play any games today, Mary? I know you said that we need more people. I'm willing to risk not like playing a game that doesn't need more people. Actually, like if you know of the game of a game off the top of your head that would be suited for 2 players, I wonder whether that's something we can spend a little bit of time on just to get that under our skin.
Do you know a game? Because like I can think of like, I think you technically can play Drawful as 2 people, but I'm not.
Let's not do that, because I feel like if we do it with 2 players, it might not capture the experience that you're looking to convey.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we should try and make friends away from the keyboard so that we can invite them with the keyboard.
Okay. Do you have a game in mind?
I don't actually. No, I have not really played chess. 2-player game. Sorry.
Well, okay. Entertain me a little bit. Is there something we can learn from chess?
There's a lot you can learn from chess. I don't know if we can learn from chess to apply. Okay. No, that was just an entirely facetious recommendation. Chess is a 2-player game, but just it's not, and it is fun. I enjoy it quite a bit, but I don't know that there's any elements that we can take into the game that we're trying to build. So.
Okay, how about I will look up some games in the background while
I work while
you slave away.
All right, let's do it. I accept. Challenge accepted. All right, let me get into it then. All right, let's go. I'm here. Let me load up a new game. I'm going to take a look at these elements here. I have not worked with a lot of animations or motions on the web. Sorry, excuse me. I couldn't do anything about it. That was so like I'm like I need to press mute. I need to hide my camera. I might be a little sneezy. Actually, give me 1 second.
Okay.
Please take over and
Right.
and entertain the world while I figure out my nose situation.
All right. Maybe what I will do is I will just do some live designing then. I'll share my screen. It's probably the same. It's the same Figma file. So I'm just doing. This is what I do when Adnan goes off and slave away at the code. I am creating design in the background and sometimes getting distracted by both what he's saying, but also like other things. So yeah. So live designing. So as I said, I will be doing a little bit of designing for the question screen. And what we're doing here today is last session, which was yesterday, I had gotten to a point where I've redesigned the welcome screen so that the teacher enter a list of players to start a game. The generate players again is not really a part of the official game or anything like that, but just something useful for now for testing purposes. And also demo purposes, right? Like if we're gonna demo it to people who might want to use this in their classroom, they probably don't want to be typing names here at this point. So it's a good. I think we should keep it for at least for a while. And then the reason why we want to have a preview player's screen or modal or whatever it is that if a teacher has entered, incorrect names or spellings or whatever, they want to be able to do that, I guess, recognize that and edit it before the game itself has been generated and the players have, the little description thingies and the avatars already assigned, because it's a lot harder to deal with. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna get rid of the edit players because I think we can use the same footer and just have all the players there. Right. Yeah, perfect. And then I'm just editing this because I'm weird and I want things to be accurate. So up here is what the round 1 overview looks like. So nobody has been eliminated. All the little bees are in the game. And then down here is like more just thinking about like what does round 2 and beyond look like when some players have been eliminated. So I should probably update this to reflect that there are only 7 players out of 14 remaining. So I'll do that in a bit. I'm just gonna make myself a note because I will forget if I do not move players. And then I will probably move on to thinking about like what does the preview look like. But you know what? I don't know. Like this piece is kind of boring because I think it's pretty straightforward. So I think what I want to do next is actually where are my wireframes? I delete things way too quickly because chaos. I create a lot of chaos, but then they give me anxiety, so I delete them and then I always regret it. So I'm gonna steal the wireframes and just put them here somewhere. There we go. And what I want to do next is actually look at this leaderboard page. But I noticed that Adnan is back, so feel free to. No, he's not back. He's not back. Okay. Okay, I will just keep going. So the leaderboard that Adnan mentioned a little bit earlier on, like no design has been, no design thought has been put into this. So it's some form of game results screen. It doesn't have to be a leaderboard, because the teacher may end the game sooner than, you know, when one remaining player is left. So perhaps perhaps what I would do is just think about like the piece, just the top part of who are the remaining players, especially because we don't really know exactly what type of like fun mentions we want to include on this page. So what I would do is I would just, I don't know if other designers do this, but I almost never create a new frame when I design a new screen. I always make a copy of something that exists. Um, that's just me. So what I will probably do is just think about like this leaderboard. Do we need to know? Do we need to know how many rounds it has been? I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna hide this card just because I think it's relevant. And then, okay, I am getting tired of moving things around, so I'm gonna just take the wireframe and just plop it there. Hide my menu because it's too large. And then I'm here and I'm thinking about how many, like what sort of information we want here. So I have my little sticky from the wireframe stage, but it's more like a reference than a absolute requirement, if you will. It's not a PRD. So what I think I would do is just look at the wireframe, look at the sticky, and try to make sense of it. So I might stop talking out loud because I need to use my brain, and I'm not the best at multitasking. So what I would do here is, I think, I think this should be a delightful screen as well. So I'm also thinking leadership, leaderboard. I'm so used to typing leadership that like my fingers just did it without thinking.
It's on your. That just means leadership is on your mind. Are you trying to? Are you trying to become more of a leader? Are you trying to join a leadership thing? What's going on?
Nothing's going on. Nothing's going on. It's just, I think in my day job, I type the word so much more than leaderboard. So it's the finger memory. So what I can probably do, leaderboard, yes. And then I'm also thinking about like, what happens when they go back to home? Like, do they go back to this? Sorry, I know it's very disorienting when I drag across multiple screens. Do they go back to here? Or is there something else? Because I think when I was designing this screen, I know I'm jumping around a lot, but it's kind of important to jump around. Oh my god. Okay, I know who that is. um, yeah, it's kind of important to jump around a lot sometimes. Not that I don't get confused by myself. But when I was designing this screen in particular, I was already thinking this should not be the first screen someone sees. Like right now it is, because we only care about honeypot math, perhaps. But perhaps there is a screen that comes before it that launches the honeypot math starting point. I'm not going to think about that just yet, but I am thinking about that in relation to the, I guess, the leaderboard game. I mean, the leaderboard screen. Because I'm thinking about like, okay, where does back to home lead? Even though on the UI side it doesn't really matter. So I think what I will do, because like, what is the CTA on this page? Like, I think in the future, probably some sort of like summary or sharing or something along those lines. But back to home, I would think is a secondary action, probably. I don't know, but I'm thinking it's a secondary action, and therefore that's what I will make it for now until we learn more. And it should not be red because it's not a destructive action or anything like that. I'm gonna go with the neutral button, and I have created some neutral buttons in the past, so I'm gonna steal them because I don't wanna tweak it myself. Sorry, I know that dragging around is painful. Da, da, da. Okay. See, it's more painful to for me to like look at the specific like icon and whatever than it is to just copy something and modify the parts that needs modification. Left. And again, this is all Nuxt UI. Okay, I got confused for a second because the question is here and I was like, what am I doing? Okay, I'm gonna open up my side panel because I know that this is getting a little chaotic. I'm just gonna delete these. Yeah, I'm gonna delete them. And then I'm thinking about like, what's the primary action on this page? For now, probably nothing. Feel free to chime in. Like, I think a reasonable action could be like share or like download a summary or something, like email me the results or something like that.
I don't know what the action is necessary, but the emotion I want is like celebration for the winners. I think ultimately is what I think the main thing that this board ought to convey.
Okay, for now I would just put a what's a good icon for share? Like one of these things. I'll just put that as a placeholder because I think at some point we will want to think about that aspect. How are you doing?
Oh, I feel like I might sneeze again, but I'm doing fine. I didn't want to jump in and kind of get into your sort of the middle of your rhythm and flow here.
Okay, I'm just gonna
But what?
quickly.
Yeah, whenever you feel like you want to transition, whenever you're ready, when the
Okay.
natural time.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna steal this piece from the page because I think it's the closest thing to the layout that I want to start as a starting point. That makes no sense. And again, I usually don't start from scratch, and I'm usually like trying to stick to components or styles I've already used in other pages of a product, so that even if I'm tweaking things, it's at least starting from a place of consistency, and I'm being more intentional about the places where it's an outlier. So what's on this page? So it should have a list of players remaining. And so I want that to show up all sparkly. And then I think leaderboard. I think what I would do is move these down because this is the highlight. And I probably don't want it to be too large unless there's only one player left. In which case, yes, I think it should be highlighted. And then that's not what I meant to do. I think what I also want to do is like see what it looks like if I like shortcuts. That's the wrong shortcut. And 4 weeks in, I'm still struggling with the shortcuts. Okay, I don't remember the shortcut for emoji, but I will bring in an icon instead because don't want to be icon. Let's see what icon I want. I want like a crown. Yeah. Just hide that. It's too many things on my screen. I don't like how it scales, so I'm gonna make that scale like so. And for now, I think I will first create what it looks like if there's only one winner, because I'm thinking that's the ideal flow, is that like you're competing until there's one winner left. Of course, it's not always going to be the case, and we'll design for that later. But for now, I'm happy with this, and I think it also like highlight the one person. Winner takes it all, or whatever. And then I think what I would do next is just adding. I don't know if you're supposed to spell honorable mentions with the U or not. It looks wrong with the U. I'm not sure why. But I will make that a little bit smaller. And I think what I will do next is just copy a couple names here. Maybe it's in this style. Take the whole piece and make it. Why is it not happy? Okay, I think I know why. Yeah, the text is too large. Okay, and then get rid of the highlight. And I think for now I just want to like make a list of honorable mentions rather than specify what they're getting the mentions for, and we can refine it as we go. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with this. I think I want to put on try a few like more visual things, but I'm happy to hand it over for some implementation.
Cool. One thing I'd suggest, Mary, in this case, I love the visuals of a single winner, but there might be a situation where the game ends because the classes run out of time, and maybe there's 3 or 4 people remaining, or however many people remaining. But definitely, we might assume that there's 5 or less people.
Yeah, I think that is a next step. I wanted to demonstrate what a single winner looks like, given like if all conditions are perfect.
Right,
that's the goal. So yeah, you wanna take over for a bit?
Sure, but it doesn't mean that you have to watch over the comments now.
I will watch the comments.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna watch the comments anyway, but I'm just saying. All right, so let's take 2, and I might sneeze and get embarrassed because I'm sneezing in public. But we're doing this live. We'll deal with it. Okay, so over here, I already noticed, which maybe I missed noticing this before, is that is far more legible than it used to be, which is great. And I need to play around with something that begins with maybe this icon and this bar, and shrinks as time goes on. And I actually don't know off the top of my head how I'm going to do this, so I'm just going to process my thoughts as I throw some HTML into the page. So let me load up the game at that stage. And this is it, essentially. I can keep refreshing this and coming to the screen where there's a timer, and I need to visually represent this timer. So I have a icon. And let's see if there's a alarm clock. There you go. Alarm dash clock icon. We'll put an icon in there. We'll put just a div that takes up the rest of the space and has a background and a border and things like that. All right, let's go. Okay. This is actually useful. It tells you that the icon failed to load. This is the screen I'm on. I'm just going to try and see. Yeah, I think this code size is good. I might increase it just a little bit. And then go to the place where we're using the timer countdown in the HTML and see how I want to represent it. Right now it's here. I'm going to keep this here just for my my own use, and maybe just add stuff on the bottom, and we'll get rid of this once we're happy with the timer we come up with. Imagine trying to code with like this timer running. There should be maybe a timer running somewhere on the screen, and you have to implement a feature within X number of seconds.
How do you feel about pressure?
Did you not watch one of my streams where I was dealing with a lot of pressure? Did you not remember that?
There's been too many. That's my excuse.
there was one stream where you had said you were joining at a certain point, and I was like, oh, I need to get. And then there was going to be a transition where I was coding earlier, and you would then transition into design. And I was like just looking at the timer, going, I have, X number of minutes. I have, and counting myself down. It's so interesting because it's relevant to streaming as well, or any performance related thing or sport, where when you're in the practice room, right, you're taking shots in your own basketball court, and you're the best free throw shooter, you're the best 3-point shooter. But where you're in front of the crowd and there's something on the line, it changes, like your body changes, and you have to adjust. That is also a skill.
What's on the line for you?
My reputation as a coder that can solve problems and make animated timers in a decent amount of time. Okay, that's huge.
I get it. I mean, I was struggling with it last Friday,
right?
Because I was like, usually I don't talk out loud, and I definitely find that difficult at times.
Yeah. All right. Let's go. Pressure's on. I will want an icon, and I've already forgotten what the icon component is. Just UIcon straight up. I'll copy one of these, and we'll get an alarm clock. And hopefully this, talking about typos, but hopefully this. Now this is a much more detailed alarm clock than what Mary has, and maybe I'll try their default. This might be more along the lines of what Mary had. Yeah, and I'm happy with that for now. And okay, let's go back to the code, and I have flex call, so I want flex row explicitly, and this will be on one side, and it will have a certain size, and then I can have a, and this can be W full because I want it to take the full range, and then additionally I can have an additional div inside here that just says hello for now, and I would have it's centered. I don't want it centered. Let's start it. Just if I start, not item start, and items can be centered. Am I mixing that up? Whoops, what did I do here? Okay, let's see. And I think I should probably do this for this type of a screen. W full, it doesn't care. Span, this is flexed. So I would have, this is not W full, right? I was like, why is this not taking up the full screen? But now this is what I would have expected. And I can give it a gap maybe make this a little bit smaller. At the same time, this is my gap, and here I want a bar that takes up the full thing, or I want a pill. Let's just say this can become my bar for now. Let's give it rounded, and let's give it a BG charcoal of 100. I want rounded full, so we get those fuller rounded things. And then inside this, I want another bar. So with, let's say, a BG brand yellow of 500, why not? And this is just me setting, trying to understand what this might look like. I can't do with full and with half at the same time. And now I'm starting to get a sense of, okay, having a bar, this is the fixed one, and this one will change in size in relation to the time. And then we'll look at the gradient and the other details in terms of like the height and so on. Maybe I can just look at the height right now. 20 pixels. And right now the height is decided by what? This is my outer bar. Can I say H5 here and actually have it respect that? Yeah, I think that did the trick. Let's H5 this up as well, so we have some consistency. Does this look better like this? This seems a lot taller than what Mary has, and that's because, again, I haven't scaled everything properly. Did I save? No, I didn't. I was looking back at some of the streams earlier, and a lot of times I was like, why I changed code? Why don't I see anything? And it's because I'm not saving properly all the time. So I need to get better at that. All right, so now I want to connect the percentage of time. And this will depend on so it's percent remaining is the width. So let me split my screen, get back to the script area, and okay, so I have a timer countdown, which ultimately is set to the time allotted to begin. So I have time allotted available to me. So I want timer percent remaining. And let's see if our friend AI knows what to do in its heart. Yeah, I mean, off the bat, this seems correct to me. Turn value allotted time. And timer countdown times 100. And here, I want to get rid of this width here and then add a class that will and here I'm just realizing that I rarely ever use real CSS. So straight up, I want width and percent remaining. We couldn't have used Tailwind, because Tailwind, you don't want to create Tailwind classes that have dynamic elements because Tailwind doesn't know how to adjust for that. I don't see any change here. Did I assign it to the right bar? I did. Let me see if it's actually changing in the code. This is here, this is here, this is here. Charcoal is the background, and this is, no, I did this completely incorrectly. So what this should be is with like this is not, can I do that? Well, actually, this is not what I need to do at all. So let me change this to an array, which is what it should be, and this is what it actually ought to be. That makes sense. But that's also not working. So let's see. It is doing something. It is reducing the width, but it's just a string. It's not CSS. It's a class. I need to do style. Like, again, have not done styling. This is the type of thing I'm talking about, Mary. Just embarrassing myself. There we go. This should be Tailwind transition. Let's see if there aren't nicer ways of representing this. Let me say transition all here because I don't know how to work it either way, and then we can later decide. Oops. Later figure out the details. Because I'm decreasing it by the amount it should, but it doesn't feel very fluid because it's super discrete. I wonder if there are. Did I just hear clicking, Mary? Did I hear you clicking?
Yes, you did. I was gonna say something, but then I was like, oh, you had another thought. Yeah, like it does look a little more like, it's like moving like one step at a time.
Yeah.
So what's the transition, like CSS that's currently in place right now?
There's a Tailwind class that says transition all. And what this does is it has some default properties. It'll transition on any change in that HTML element. And it has some default timer and the curve, animation curve, let's just say. But any change, it'll try and make it smoother by default. So, which ends up in this, because this waits here, there's probably a nicer, simpler way to do this. And that would be like actually having every single, like just more discrete timing countdowns. And that might also be related to trying to get milliseconds here. I know earlier when we were doing this, I did mention, hey, I might want milliseconds here instead of seconds because it's more important to be accurate. Like especially if we're using this as a competitive element, I want to know that I answered it in, 4 2/4 of a second. And so I might try and do that at this stage and see whether that's any more helpful. So what's happening here is, and the reason this is happening, and this will be actually super nice when we get it. So we have an interval that's going down every second, but what we want is for it to maybe, what if it went down every millisecond? And now I can't do this anymore, and it's no longer an integer. So I guess I just need to think how I want to represent it. Let's say, even server side, all timing representations are now milliseconds. So I can go to create turn, which is my database thing, and I'll keep it integer just to keep things simpler and make this 30,000 as a default. And then any other time where I'm using, I'm setting it, let's go 30,000. And now its whole measurement now is in milliseconds by default. And now we can go down by a millisecond level and have a much more smoother look and feel here. So I believe I can just go start a new game here so that the new defaults are in place. And this number I need to fix, but this is coming down at it still feels fairly, yeah, okay, that's fine. So I need to also, in my width code, fix that. So I know what I need to do. A couple things are happening. My width percent time remaining no longer needs to be rounded. We don't want to round it. We actually want the dirty details here. And then timer countdown's representation here. Here should be like, I'm just going to say display timer, maybe, and write a function here that gets me what I want. So I can say function display timer seconds. And let's say, what if I gave it a comment that says milliseconds, show milliseconds as seconds dot, come on. Let's see if that's, I mean, it actually doesn't make any sense entirely, but let's see if it kind of does what I want. Maybe it does. The dancing here is no good, but we'll adjust that and figure that out later. Always have 2 digits for milliseconds. Let's see. Let's get rid of that and see if it does that. And at least now, so it is still kind of shifting around. There's a few ways to address this. One way might be to use a font that is kind of has the same width for every single digit. That would probably be the easiest thing to do. But we don't have to worry about this right now. This is just, we actually have to worry about this, which is, are we getting a good sort of indication of reduced time? It is a lot better. It feels a little weird to me. Still, no, it's actually right. It's actually entirely correct, it turns out. It's just moving slow, and that's fine. We can make it move a little bit faster by not going down every millisecond and going down maybe 10 milliseconds at a time. And maybe this will feel a little bit better. Yeah, that feels good. That feels great. This is still, and this even feels a bit better, like just in terms of motion of time. I don't love it. Let me just see if there's a Google font same width. Yeah, so a mono type font, PT mono, space mono. Let me just start with the first one just to see if my theory is correct. And if it is, then we'll take it from there. And I can just do a font mono here. Is there even a DM mono? There is a DM mono. Hello. So we'll stick with DM mono here and see how this turns out. Let's see what timer countdown looks like over here, and font mono. Come around here. And now that's a lot better. I don't know whether we want this kind of a thing over here kind of moving along with it, but let's see if we can't do that kind of thing.
I actually, like, now that I'm watching it, I feel like that would be probably too much to have like a number that's moving.
Can we see how that feels? Do you know? What about, are you saying if the number is too much into moving, how do you feel about what if there was like a, the icon, you think, the comment that you have?
I like the idea of the comment. But that's also me selfishly wanting to see how that looks.
Yeah.
But I think the number probably too much. The other
Okay.
thing I wanted to share is I came across this timer. I'm just gonna put it in the private chat. But it's not a linear timer, but I thought it does a couple of things in a cool way. Like one thing that I really like is that the color changes based on how much time there is left. I thought that could be interesting.
Interesting. Okay. Is the color changing here? Yes. Okay, there you go. Cool. And you want to try some? Is this something that you want to try on our current timer?
The color changing, yes.
Okay.
I mean, feel free to say no.
Oh, well, okay, no. But we'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I said no because it felt good, but I'll do the work as well. That way I get
Best
both.
of both worlds.
Yeah, exactly. We both, this is the worst compromise ever, right? Like, I guess for me, because I just get the feeling of having said no. Okay, yeah, and the color changes. Well, what
Wait, I have a question.
Mhm.
How does it make you feel when non, I guess, programmers send you, I don't know, stuff like this?
It's fine. I mean, I don't. Is there? When you ask me that question, it seems like it's a loaded question because I feel like you have an impression of how I might feel.
No.
And no, okay, all right. I feel. I mean, I feel fine. I mean, you're sending me something that you might want to see in the product, and I can take a look at it to say, oh yeah, this is. I can see how it's done, and see if that's something that works for me, and then see if it's relevant. That's totally fine. If
Okay.
anything, it makes my job easier, right?
Okay, yeah, because like I've sent this type of thing to developers in the past, obviously, and each time I'm always like, I'm sending something that I don't fully understand myself.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm always like, oh, how does it land? You know?
It honestly depends on the person, I suppose, right? So in this case, I look at this and I go, okay, well, I mean, for us, this is a lot more smoother than obviously what I have. Look at the smoothness of transition here. And let me see if I can't get this to what I have. Oops. Here, which is like, but I think we're also using a lot of real estate to represent not a lot of time. And there might be something I can take from here. So there's something similar, right? Like raw time fraction. Are they doing anything that's, so they are going down by a second. So that's a little bit better than, so time passed, but they're still doing this raw business. So I think the calculate time fraction, but honestly, when I read this, I'm like, oh, I have to figure it out in my brain. Time left, time limit, that makes sense. So this calculation seems different. And I wonder if it's because they're using a circle. I wonder if this is some kind of mathematical representation of how a smoothing thing. Let's see if we can't read it. Calculate the difference between initial time and how much time has passed. Changes cause the time remaining near zero. Displays the progress time as an animated ring. Remove the fill, set the timer size. Okay, I think at some point they do talk about, so they're doing this minute second business. We're doing seconds and milliseconds business. What else? There might be some CSS here that I can pick up, but I'm curious about the counting down. There we go. Let's think about what we need to count down. Right now we have a time limit value, represents our initial time passed, very similar to what we have. And what we need to do is increase the value of time passed by 1 unit per second and recompute the time left. And we can achieve that by the set interval function. Yeah, that's what we're doing. So here they have a set interval function that is doing both at the same time, which is fine. I guess for me, I just have it calculated. Time left, and update the template. Okay, cool. But this whole, they have more math. And let's see how they're addressing the math portion. And whether it's related to them being a circle or whether it's related to them. So I do want to know what this calculation time fraction business is. And so yeah, it gets mentioned here. So this is the percent, right? Okay, and they're getting that same discrete change. It looks like our animation is lagging by 1 second. Do the animation's duration be set to 1 second when the value of the remaining time is set to 0? It still takes 1 second to actually animate the ring to 0. We could get rid of that by reducing the length of the ring gradually doing the countdown with that in there. Calculate time fraction function. So they're using some magic here, which honestly, I don't need to learn. I'm happy to simply copy it. So let me go to this function. And so this would be constant time fraction, right? And we don't need to do that, not times 100. And then we return time fraction. So minus, maybe this will get picked up. No. 1 divided by time allotted. Yep. And then times 1 minus timer countdown value. Let's see if this isn't smoother. I don't even off the top of my head know exactly what it's doing in terms of math, but I also don't need to know if it works. So for one thing, the scaling is a bit different, so I need to figure that out. All right. So I do have to use my brain.
Hate it when that happens.
Yeah, that wasn't part of the deal. Okay. So I have a timer countdown value, which is going down. I have a turn value allotted. So the time fraction needs to be modified based on let me actually see. Let's actually see what the value is of this timer percent remaining coming out at the end of the day. And I don't have to dance around it. We can just put it here. So integer search for display timer. I can actually just add another span here and say timer percent remaining and see that value. So we're starting off at 2% and going down super slowly. What am I doing wrong? Time left. Countdown is time remaining. Time limit. This is my time limit. And I can, I guess, delete one bracket around there. So time limit, although it's, you know, maybe I shouldn't have changed Maybe I can just do divide. Is it expecting that? I'm just taking a guess here. Yeah, and now this seems a little bit right, but I guess for me, this is not percentage. I need to multiply by 100 at the end of this. And now we should be getting the time, but I just, oh, like I guess the transition is far smoother. Okay, cool. I still don't understand it, but we got it working.
Can we see it with a smaller time frame? Like
How do you mean?
like a 10 seconds or something?
Yeah, sure. Just give me one moment, please. I want to remove this so that's not in view, and we want to see this with a smaller time frame of 10 seconds remaining, 10,000, and I'll just simply not change this at start, although that should not be the countdown. That should not be that, but that's fine. That was weird. Oh yeah, sorry, my bad. This won't work off. This is time remaining, not time incoming. So that goes out the window. The easiest way for me to do that is to actually just hard code it in the back end as I create a new game. There might be easier ways, but oops. And then once I come back here and create a new game, start round, this is what it would look like for a 10-second drop happening. We can also go down by a second and see how that feels for feelings purposes. So we can actually increase this time back to a second, and then maybe I should change the database back to a second as well. What's going on? That made no sense. What? That actually makes no sense. What am I looking at here? Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry. No. Oh yeah. Sorry. I have to go down by 1,000 here. Yeah, but that we're back in discrete land. So let's see if we can't do. Oh, okay. I think that's why our countdown was wrong. So when I made this 10, this also needed to be 10. I think. 3, 2, 1. Oh, okay. This is not working anymore. So I'm not sure what I did. What did I do? It went to 0 straight up. So we changed a bunch of stuff. Let me try and get back to where it was working. And I think I thought it was working here. Yeah, I mean, it's off. It's off. No, is it? Yeah, it is off because this is not decreasing by 1 second. So that's more like it. But then for some reason, this is okay. We're not going to use that formula anymore for a second until I figure this out. So the earlier mistake I made was changing this to 10 and not changing this. So our perception of time was totally and entirely warped. For now, I'm going to comment that out and then just return what we might expect. And that's not working either. I think just my width is this percent. That should be a percent. Let me bring back this is what happens when you share things, Mary, by the way. This is what happens.
I know, I feel so bad.
I'm just kidding. This is, but I had a bug in there, right? Which got revealed because, well, it would have been revealed anyway, but still, this is nice. Also, so I have timer percent remaining. And you know what? I don't want to do it too fixed. Give me it straight up. Yeah, this seems like it's correct, right? Like, then what's happening here? So now we do need to go here and take a look. Well, I guess I'll need to go back and inspect this. That width is decreasing. Let's do the to fix business. That's really weird. Like, why? And then all of a sudden it goes to 0. That makes sense. Or does it stop here? Yeah, all of a sudden going to 0 makes sense. And this percentage is this. So if I go here, I actually need to give myself a little bit more time. So I'll go to the previous game where they already had 30 seconds. So that gives me 30 seconds to take a look at this issue. A part of me is guessing that whatever I'm sending it is too much. So if I'm doing time fraction, this is a total guess, which is, let's actually do the to fixed business here. To fixed returns what? A string, that's fine. Okay. It's not, something weird is happening somewhere, and I don't know in my heart exactly where that is. What if I become even more discrete here? Something's not right. It feels very jumpy, although the numbers are correct. No, they're not. They're not. Look at that. This is the problem here, right? No, 26. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look at me just count. And this is not going down by a second. Yeah. That's the problem. Okay. So every millisecond, I'm removing a value, and I have total milliseconds. Hold on. Let me just return milliseconds here. Let's simplify. I feel like we've put a lot on the board. Maybe me changing the milliseconds didn't help. Yeah, this is definitely not going down by a second every second.
Time is moving slower than our
time. I think we just invented time travel. I mean, people are like, oh, this guy can't make a timer, and I'm on a different level. You're not. Please.
Yeah, you have more time now.
Yeah, what you think is I have a bug, but what I actually have.
It's not a bug.
Yeah,
it's a feature.
It's a time travel feature. Okay, sorry. Let me get back here. Okay, let's simplify. I have milliseconds. 1 second is 1,000 milliseconds, right? Am I, at least that I feel like I know. Set interval is based off of milliseconds. So this number of milliseconds, it reduces timer countdown by that number of milliseconds. Okay, so let me do this. Let us remove this and remove this, and just focus on getting the time reduction correct. Let's get rid of that. It seems 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It seems like every second, every millisecond, it's going down by like 100 less than it ought to. Why is that? It has to be the set interval, right? So every millisecond I subtract how much? I think I don't know how many. I guess I don't know how time works. This is correct. This is the real motion of time. Which runs every milliseconds, but did I? 30,000. 30,000. Okay, well, I actually don't need to understand things as long as they're working. Let me bring back this and see how it works when the motion of time is more human. That does not feel like 50%.
I feel like that's too fast now.
Oh, it is faster. You're right. Sorry, I was
time traveling the other.
Yeah,
direction.
I still can't do math. So this was so this is correct. 1, 2, 3. I actually don't know what's happening. So if I do this, now it's faster. So we go 1, 2, 3. So how much time passes? I was like, this is correct, but it's actually not. It's like way off. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Is this correct?
At the
There's
risk
like-
of
there's like-
risk of
Uh-huh.
distracting you further, I'm gonna send you more stuff.
On how to count?
More just like more like a more basic timer.
Okay.
'Cause I feel like we need to get the time itself first before thinking about the timer visuals.
Okay, sure. I can take a look at what you have here. Bring it into screen. Oh wow, you're like basic coding Adnan, first Adnan. Like when you learn how to code, you loser can't code. I mean, this is what we had to begin, right? So let me actually just go back and reset to where we were and then move up a little bit slower. So first of all,
You got a comment?
sorry, what was the comment?
Try it without the transition property.
Sure, yeah, we can do that. We can do. So that works, and that's because transition itself was slowing the browser down, I think. Which is why the counting felt incorrect and everything else felt incorrect. All right, thank you, Mr. K or Miss K or AK. I guess that's why you have your initials, because you don't want to reveal who you are. person K.
I know who you are.
Okay, well, that sounds like a threat. I'm sorry. I don't like. That's not when I hear that. So now, can I remain in millisecond land and still? No, there's still some oddity happening here, right? Because this is not the motion of time. So this is nicer because we're not transitioning, and I think maybe the browser's display was kind of causing some time issues. But I feel like it's still good for me to reset a little bit and go to seconds here. I don't want to. I'm like, how many milliseconds? Like literally, I'm just embarrassing myself. Like just so I understand, it's 1,000, right? I'm correct on that. Okay, and then because Mary had to send me how to do math thing. Look, okay, she's like, you can't subtract by 1, you'll lose her.
I don't know what's happening.
That's what I heard. No, I know what's happening. No, I actually don't know what's happening. That's why we're here. It's because I don't know what's happening. Okay. I thought I knew what was happening, but I don't. It's here. We have to do something here. Set interval, right? What if I did this? If I change this to 1,000 and I subtract by 1,000, right? That should mean that every second I go down by 1,000. This is correct. Refresh. 3. Yeah, this is correct. Let's go back to the game with 10 seconds. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. What if now I change this to 500 and I subtract by 500? Six, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, that feels like time. 100, 100. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. 10, 10. This looks very nice to me, but I could have sworn that I did this like 3 seconds ago. All we did was get rid of the. Now it doesn't feel that way at all.
Huh, yeah, interesting.
Right? Yeah, now it does not feel that way, even though you saw what we did, right? Like we went.
Like 10 was fine too.
Yeah, I think the millisecond timer here is really causing great sadness. Now what happens at this level when we bring that transition back? Because I just want to know whether that was impacting things in the way that we think. So that definitely broke this. Because maybe that's too much transitional work, especially because the duration of the transition is different than the time. And I'm doing this just so I understand. What if I change the duration to match so let's say 10 milliseconds to match the change in time? Because by default, it's what? It's something else. And this still doesn't seem correct. What if I change the duration here to be faster than the change in time? That's not right either. What if I change it to be slower than the change in time? none of those feel good. So the transition only was good for when they were like, when we had a lot of time and we were doing it by a lot of, because right now, I guess, in a sense, we're doing the work of the transition over here. So 10 seems to be the sweet spot. Let's try that out with, oops, 6, actually, not 8. And the motion of time feels pretty good here. The animation is looking pretty good. And note that we didn't use any of the stuff here. We just did, this is really what I had before. The thing that was messing us up was this was a separate issue when we went to 1-1. And then the transition animation was, so those two issues in conjunction were causing mass confusion. I still don't know why this doesn't work when it's 1-1, but don't need to know. And then I can bring back my timer here. Oops. And then I can get rid of this debugging display. And here we go.
Oh, we got another comment.
Yeah. So it's a matter of display. So the system is true, but the display, the speed of the display itself becomes, this is, I guess, what gamers have to contend with all the time as things move on the screen. Let's see how this feels with just that. Let's go to the 10 seconds. I'm here just actually looking for feel, not for anything else.
I like
That's
this.
not right. But it didn't feel right. When this went to 0, this still had a lot. Yeah. Oh, because because we're reducing time. We're not displaying it. So that's correct. Because I wanted to see how that would feel, and we do need this because even when it goes to 0, there's still this much time remaining.
I see.
Although this is really, yeah. So it felt wrong because we didn't have this display. Let's see what it feels like.
What if? Okay. No.
No, go for it.
I was gonna say, like, because I think like the millisecond is nice for the last, I don't know, 5 seconds maybe, but not as much earlier on. But I feel like that's a bit of a distraction. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, that doesn't feel that bad because this seems like yeah, were you thinking we add it when there's like less than 5 seconds or something?
Yeah, but maybe not. I don't know.
We can see how that feels. If seconds is less than, let's say, 5, right? Then, whoops, what am I doing? Then we can do 2. Otherwise, we do return formatted a second straight up. I just comment this out. I guess I can't comment it out because ignore the padded. And then even here, we could go to a more reduced version. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Are you satisfied
I am.
with the situation? Okay.
I am. We got time right.
Yeah,
We're not bending time anymore.
we were bending time, and then now we have adjusted.
Now we're back to reality.
Thank you, gender neutral AK. Okay. And mathematics, I guess, in general. All right. So now we have a timer. Let's see if we can't have this follow this timer. And the way of thinking about doing that is a bit weird. Maybe I should just commit at this point. We have a mono thing. We have our countdown functioning. It doesn't work at 1 milliseconds, but works. It feels right in 10 milliseconds. And that might all be in conjunction with the speed of the display. But I mean, different people have different displays. I'm actually happy with milliseconds being stored in the database. So I will keep that, and I'm happy. Yeah, because we need it. It's not as nice without that. All right. Initial visual timer. Okay, so we have an initial visual timer, and let's see if we can't have it follow along. I also want to quickly see what it looks like when we don't have padding on the formatted seconds. I believe I can just get rid of that. And let's go to the 10 version so we can test it quickly. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, almost 0. Okay. I'm okay with that. I don't like the padding in front of the seconds. So we can actually just get rid of that. All right, let's see. Okay, so the question is, how do I have this follow around here and still make sense? One of my thoughts was, and maybe I can go to the 30-second version here for follow along purposes. Maybe what I can do is have a duplicate of this. And so there's a div up top here that's also being, and this timer just sits at the end. I don't know what would happen when it gets to this level, but we can see. So let's see if we can't do that. So let's start off by first duplicating this. And I might need to place the whole thing in another div. I don't know what this will do. Yep, so one on top of another. Okay, great. Let's just add some padding here, or margins here. There's a little shift because I want margin only one way. Okay, so this is the div. So here we'll get rid of this. And then we will place in here whoops. We'll place in here time. No, what did I do? And then I can flex this and say items end, or sorry, justify end. And now this is something along the lines of what I want. Can probably change the height here so that it actually contains the thing. Can also just actually not even have a height. And then we can also get rid of this background. Really, the styling can go away here. And we should have something that's moving along. Now, what if it also was the time itself? So that looks perfect. Let's ship it.
Nice.
What do you think, Mary? What do you think? I did it. First try. You don't even have to send me any links. I'm teasing when I say that, right? So, and I was both insulted and I'm also teasing both at the same time. So I deserved it. I was struggling for a while. What were you gonna do? Just watch? And I like this. We could be like, bye timer. As this kind of just. I feel like this is. I'm ready to ship. What are you talking about? Let's polish? No, let's ship.
So you would be happy to share this with your sister?
We don't have to use my sister. We can. Yeah, I'm not a coward. Okay. I don't even know why I'm talking. Let's see how this feels. We can probably now use a shorter time span just to get the sense of time.
It's cute, but I don't know.
You think it's distracting?
Yeah, I think it, like, my eyeballs keep following it. And I'm like, I should be looking at the question.
Yeah. Although, okay, fine. Let's go with rational time here. Is this because when it's fast, for sure. But what about this range? Like, it seems like, okay, I mean.
I think, yeah, this is okay. I guess. Yeah. I guess I'm wondering, because the reason why I was like, oh, we should play Drawful is because how they've created a timer is that they have static number, almost like number milestones on a linear scale.
I see.
And then the item is moving through it, but like you don't have to be like, okay, how many exact seconds are there? So I like this if it's like for the last maybe 10 seconds. Like,
yeah, I was gonna suggest that as well, which is we can have a here where we say timer countdown is less than or equal to, let's say, even 5. I'll fix this in a second. Oh. And we'll wait the whole 30 seconds to see what this. I'm actually not like. I actually do want to see what it feels like, because you do get a sense of how much time you have left very quickly. Maybe this can be a little bit taller. Like this can be the height can be increased so it's clear, a little bit clearer. So I'll play with that in a second. What did I do? Did I not code this properly? Oh yeah, okay, because this is that would never have happened. It's because of math. So now we have to wait another whole 30 seconds to see what this feels like. In the meanwhile, I'll ask you why you decided to put us on the top right in your production capacity.
Yeah. I think let me see, because I moved us around a little bit. At one point we were covering the last couple seconds.
Another thing we could do is where this exists. Let me just div it up first and then bring our timer here and comment this out for a second. The other thing I did want to do is give a little bit more, just to see how it feels, more height here. Visually, it looks kind of striking in a sense, but I don't love it, but I also immediately don't hate it. Immediately, I feel the value of being able to quickly glance and know where I am. And what if I went even lighter on this? That's better.
Yeah.
Because that contrast is like I feel it more immediate. And then this did nothing because of that if statement being copied. So again, we can fix the spacing there, and we can even do it in conjunction with some icon. I just wanted to see what it looks like.
I kind of like the timer as a with the icon, like that placement.
Oh, okay. So maybe I can get rid of it from here entirely. And we'll see how this feels. So minus the shifting that happens. So maybe we can give that a little bit more of a fixed width. This might be too much, but I'm just playing. Whoops, I should not have done that. I saved. Did I save? Yeah. And then if I flex, justify, center, item center this stuff. And then if I do the same here, I don't need to justify center, just item center, I think. Well, let's just see what this looks like first. Not what I had expected. This is a bit silly, but I just want to see. Okay, so I do need to just get some stuff worked out here in terms of, it's because this is smaller than this, so it doesn't look centered. We could even make it larger because it actually can just be larger. And then I don't know why. Let me get rid of that. Bring this out. Yeah, let me get a sense of why this spacing business. Oh, okay, I see. Because this is at this is at the top. Why is that at the top? Oh, because there's no. But even if it was at the center, that would also not look good. So this is this over here. This is this, and this is this. They're the same height. I would have thought that the items center here would have centered this, but it has because I copy pasted, that's why. It had a margin, and now when I get a look at it. So this is marginless. This is full. So it is in a sense centered. And then this has no centering guidance. So let's take a look here where I can say, I don't want to say justify center. And I might need to say it later. And that now looks like it's more human. And we can actually go a bit down, I think, in size of the timer. Maybe too small. Let's see how this feels. Feels a little bit better. And then let's actually give it more, not less space. And I kind of like how it can just remain centered as well. And they'll just shift. I don't hate it.
I like it.
What are you thinking, Mary, in terms of, because I got rid of all that code where something was following along. Do we want a comment to follow along? Or too distracting?
I think for now, maybe no.
Okay. Yeah.
I think let's start simple.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. So we had a lot of, so let me just get rid of sort of this excess code. We don't have an icon anymore. I just don't know design-wise where I would put it, but I'll just leave that to you to play around with. I will leave that in the comments, and let me just take a look at the changes here.
And I don't think we need an icon. Like, I think the icon was there when the number was not in that placement. But I think...
Yeah, I mean, another thing we could do just for the visual, I wouldn't mind playing out with certain thoughts here. So let's take a look. Okay, so we could just bring it back and see what that feels like. Okay, so that's one. Another thing we could quickly take a look at is, what if this was at the end?
Okay. Not bad.
And what if they were flipped?
Somebody's angry.
Somebody's angry? Where?
I just hear like a honk from...
Oh, yeah. In I'm on the 3rd floor in my apartment, and I hear all the cars all the time.
Do you get distracted?
No, it's just so natural. I don't mind this, actually. Not that... Sorry, go ahead.
I actually like it the other way.
Ooh, oh no.
Oh, yes.
Chaos. Let's look at this. I actually like this, oddly enough. And let's just see what this looks like again. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. I don't know why my eyes wanted this. Yeah, ultimately, I think, this is one of those things where I feel like half the people would want it here and half the people would want it here, and the right answer is whatever I feel.
Because you're programming it. That's the power you have.
Let me just add a little bit of margin space here to the right to see what this feels like. Just some breathing room over here. And let's add breathing room here and here, actually, just to see what it feels like. Yeah. Let's keep it like this. I think the icon comes with a little bit of breathing room by default, so. Now this looks a little bit more spaced, and you know what? This is what we'll start with because it's good enough. Okay, so placed timer. It'll make no sense, but we did. We placed the timer. That's what was done. Okay, so we have the timer going. We decided not to test our luck with this over here. Let's see these
Wait,
screens. Sorry, go ahead.
Can you click on my profile just to?
Okay. Because you want followers.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, this is just like the most recent iteration, so I just didn't want you to take designs from a previous iteration.
Oh, got it. Okay, yeah. Let me move here and let's just see. Let's scroll down. Let's move to the side. Okay, so we have these screens that could use some love. The starting round screen. So we have some question screens. I'm trying to see if there's any newer elements here. And so the spacing for these has been adjusted. We still don't know how we're going to manage images, questions with images, just from a back end point of view. And so let's.
Maybe this is a distraction, but I was thinking that each round the players should be shuffled in like their order. What do you think about that?
Should they be? Why should they be shuffled? Justify yourself.
Well, I don't know. I feel like it's a equity or equality thing of like not like the first player that randomly is chosen as the first player of the first round.
You want a fair distribution of this.
Yeah.
Could you do me a favor, Mary? Could you look up on the internet what ordering a B usually goes in? Not that we should necessarily follow it, but it's just in more information. So I'm thinking maybe I can do a little bit on the spacing side of things in the meanwhile, which is like there's a certain space here and here that I can give to the question, even though it's kind of simple and centered, but just in this spacing here and maybe here, and just because right now when I look at it, we have this kind of thing happening. And so I just want to see whether I can't space this a little bit. Maybe I could just center it for now entirely, and we worry about everything else later. So in the question here, this is flex. This is also like this doesn't have a. What if I said something like H full here? Will it automatically know what to do? And then alongside H full here, I want to further flex this. I want to item center this, and that's nicely centered, and whatever content goes here will be centered. So that's fine, and there's equal spacing is managed by Flex now. I'm going to quickly check my messages to ensure that the world around us
is still the world.
Yeah, and it's fine.
So in official spelling bees, I got the answer. They do go in the same order, unless the people are eliminated.
And then what's the concern for because my thought, and I don't know what's fair or not, but my thought is, and I might be wrong, my thought is because they're doing it, it's probably fair, and it might be unfair if it was randomized, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
You don't sound convinced.
I think I'm just like, if I went first and I'm like, oh, I survived first round. I guess
Mhm.
I'd feel the pressure. Like, it's honestly just for that first person. Like, everyone else, I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, you're going second, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, there might be some consideration for having a randomized start,
I
even
see.
if we're not randomizing every round, because if a list of students is coming in a certain pattern, we can demonstrate that it's fairly fair through initial randomization. Yeah, and I don't know what happens when we're sort of dealing with regular, like, yeah,
Okay. I
I'm
like that.
let me go back.
Maybe some sort of like randomized order just as a part of
In the
that.
preview, once you
Yeah.
have a list, yeah, absolutely. And the yeah, I mean, my default would be not to change it, even if it was better right now, because it's an additional change, for example. And then to really see if there's any feedback in that kind of a case where it's like, if we get some feedback, then I'm happy to adjust.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so here I have a scaled down question. This takes center stage, and then everything else is kind of around the correct answer. So let me see if I can't do some spacing work here. This actually belongs all together. So I'll just do that. And we'll see how this feels here as I go to, let's say, this will be fine. I just want to go to a screen where if I refresh, that thing is repeated over and over. And then here we can actually fix this by saying something like this. And then we, even though this is flexed, yeah, I'm actually okay flexing it. Maybe I don't want a gap here. What I'm looking at is like, I feel like, well, I don't have to feel, I can just see here. So this has, so the answer has its own spacing, and this is why it was messed up. That should not be H full. This has a size, that has a size, and this can be a lot smaller. So I can actually maybe just use Tailwind text sizes here and oddball it. Yep, that looks better. And then let me just, the icon here is, the image here is super big. So we don't want any of this happening anymore. And then what if I just made it half the height for now? That's fine. And then, I mean, we can change that. I just want to do this as well. Does it need any padding? I don't think it needs padding. And then, yeah, I think this is a little messy because I don't think I want everything to be flexed, because what I actually want is this to take center stage. So I did the H full. business here. And my assumption would have been that because this is flex, so this is flex, this needs to be H full. Good. And this also, like up the chain, we got to be H fulls up the chain. And we are currently not. Okay. Okay, so now that spacing, because of that H fullness, is good. I don't think this actually does anything, but I do want some padding. So the PY6 is not a bad idea, I don't think. Because there's some breathing room here. This is centered, so spaced out from this. Although I guess here, this is not really centered. So this is top, second, and then this image actually takes not center stage, but bottom stage, let's just say. So I guess, let me see what this feels like when this is. So this is column. Justify, is there justify start? And is that the right one? Yeah, so it's not necessarily center stage. I feel like I just need to give this a little bit more breathing room. So it's more like 12. And then just a little bit more spacing here. So maybe 12 as well. And then we can adjust later. I'm mostly okay with this. Yeah, I think that's fine. Let me just take a look at the design here. And this again is going to change. Like I just want to get some elements of spacing closer to the design, even if it's not exact. So my goal is, even at this stage, is not to be exact, but just to get a step closer, because my sense is that this also will change, but I just want to slowly inch closer and closer to the design as we still figure out certain elements. So once we get to the questions and kind of assessing the questions, all of that will become a lot more prevalent. So okay. All right, what do we have? Otherwise, so I'm not going to try some of the more complex things. Let me see if I can't. I know we're like over 2 hours, but I wouldn't mind spending just a little bit of time on this screen since Mary seems to fancy it so much. So let's see if we can't play around with it, and even if it's not complete, at least get some essence of it.
Can I just say this looks so good? Like,
which part?
All of it.
Oh, okay.
Like I think because we've been doing like small bits each day, it's hard to like see the progress.
Oh,
but,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like looking at where we ended last Friday and comparing to now, it's like, oh wow, like it's like a different app.
yeah, for sure, absolutely. Yeah, it looks nice. It looks like it's slowly sort of, like those time lapses where the person's taking photos of them every day, and then we see how they look through like 40 years or something. That's sort of, that's when the changes become apparent. And if we did that with this, we would see it for sure. Okay, so this start round is also starting to look a little bit more like the rest of the call to actions or CTAs, like Mary likes to call them. Like Mary,
Oh, me and my
a
acronyms.
term invented by Mary.
Me and my acronyms.
So
Okay, I actually dislike acronyms, so I would welcome you calling me out on them because
no, I think you
I've
should
adapted to them, but I don't actually like them.
I'm gonna get rid of this this tab that Mary sent to me. I'm still gonna tease you about this for a long time. Trust me.
I was trying to help.
No, you were, and
just know that
I'm not questioning.
Intentions.
I'm not questioning your intentions, but I'm sorry. We judge people by impact, not by intention, right? You judge yourself by your intention. I judge you by your impact. I judge myself by my intentions because I'm a saint. Okay, I'm a saint that causes destruction, but
all right,
sorry.
Saint Adnan.
No, but it was funny. I took it in funniness. But we ended up, I actually wouldn't mind playing with one thing that got lost in the airness of things. So let me backtrack a little. I wouldn't mind changing colors when this shifts, just to see how it feels like, right? Like get a sense of the feeling. So what I want to do is, let's go to the spot where I have that color, split my screen, go back into the JavaScript code and say timer colors. And already it's sort of giving me some indication of doing it by time basis. So we'll accept the AI suggestions. And here, this is the kind of the bug I started off with, is like, this should actually now be class, and we fit our timer colors there. We get rid of that from here. And now let's see what this feels like. There were two shifts. 10 plus has a different color. And I think that's just happening because we don't have a brand red.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
the colors are not defined.
Yeah. So let's get into the main CSS. I think there's just a regular red that exists in Tailwind, so we'll just leverage that. And this is exactly why I tried to rename ours with brands, so we could always fall back to any other colors we wanted to play around with. So another thing I want to try and do is, in this case where we have transition, we can try transition colors. We did transition all before, but now we can try transition colors to see what that shift feels like. And let me get to that spot in the code, and that this is changing, so this would go here. And so once we get down to below 5 seconds, that's a slightly nicer transition. And I think I hard-coded to 10 in the back end, but let's jump a couple of games and let's see what this looks like from yellow to orange to red. So once this goes below 10, we'll start seeing the color change.
Can the transition be defined by percentage rather than like absolute time?
How do you mean by percentage?
So like, because I'm thinking about like, oh, like, you know, maybe the, I guess, time per turn is 90 seconds. And
yeah, absolutely. And so here, because we have our timer percent remaining, we can key off of that. So we'll say timer percent remaining, so 80%. And I'm just going by 50%. Maybe actually it's going to be a bit lower. No, sorry. So let's say let's say 20%. And so this is greater than 80. Let's see what this feels like. I want to make this a little bit less prevalent, actually, like a lighter red. And now we can see what this will feel like. I think the first hit was, okay, so that's first one. And the next one will kind of happen somewhere around here, the 20% range. I actually don't know where it is.
Can we do the first transition at 50%?
Yeah. Okay, that's not enough red, actually. So I was wrong entirely about that being too red. So the first transition at 50%. The next transition at?
25.
20. Okay, all right. Yeah. I see the rhythm here. Should this be redder? I'm just trying to see, because my feeling was that red wasn't quite right, but maybe it was the right red.
I think it's, I guess I'm wondering, like, other ways to make the transition smoother somehow. I'm not sure how.
Yeah, there absolutely are. I was gonna actually mention that as well, because the other ways of doing it are, yes, that red is too red. So let's just go a little bit lesser red. But the other way of doing it is, so when we see this, there are a number of other factors. I actually don't know what this means. I hide. When changing properties with a discrete set of values. That was our values. Should we have done that? Maybe. Also, I think did my headphone, whoops, I shouldn't be revealing things. Did my headphones, I heard like a doot 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 in my ears, which means these are being adjusted. So I'll just need to, I'll have this weird moment here. Well, I'll remove these and then take on these.
Been streaming for too long.
Yeah. A good indication to go home. But yeah, maybe we could just play around with the transition a little bit and then call it a day.
Yeah.
I guess, but transition discrete might come with a cost. Similar to this, but I guess, but I don't even know if transition discrete applies in duration. So how long a transition takes, and what it feels like. So that's taking a bit longer, and that's taking the longest. So what happens if we slow down the transition of the color? I wonder. And maybe we can, now since we're just testing for transition, I can go to this level. Slower definitely feels nicer because you can sense it changing. Another thing, I'm trying to think. I don't know how I would do this. So there's also animations.
Yeah, are there like the ease out, the easing stuff?
Pardon me, what was that?
Are there the ease out, easing stuff?
Yeah,
that's exactly what you're looking at.
Well, I don't know how that applies to color, so we can definitely take a look. So let me just start with ease out, and we'll see what that does. I don't know. I don't know if that's more of a motion thing or a color thing.
It should apply to both, I hope.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, yeah, there's a little bit of that. It feels like a glow for some reason. Like,
would you like to try the reverse?
Sure.
So we can see this at ease in scale. I liked it. I don't know, but I feel like it'd be hard to tell it in general, but I liked what that felt like. The other thing I was trying to look at, actually it wasn't timing, it was animate pulse. So my thought was, so let's animate ping. Like, what if there was some kind of a quick pulse, like, or even just like a something? It might
It's
be a
like,
bad
hello.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, like exactly, just kind of like a, just to let you know this is happening. Let me just for visual purposes, let's just see what happens. For example, let's start with the timer itself and see what this looks like. Just not that we should do this, but I'm just saying. Okay. And then
Honestly, I don't hate it. Like, okay, maybe not the last.
I don't know if I don't like it because it's the bounciness, but I feel like it can. I want to see what pulse looks like. That's too subtle. I want to, so they have pulse. I kind of want it to grow and come back, right?
What's pink?
Excuse me. I was doing so well.
Ooh. Ooh. That's interesting.
That's the default kind of pulse thing.
I mean, I feel like that could be really cool for like the
pinging.
3, 2, 1 part, but other than that,
it's still quite a lot. The pulse is too subtle. I feel what I wouldn't mind, and I don't know how to do this, is maybe just like I just want one bounce at the interval change. Like when it changes, just a little thing here. But just for silliness. Sorry, so stupid.
The bar is trying to get out.
Yeah, I thought the whole thing would bounce, but maybe if I place it out here. Oops. I think you'll like this.
What? What happened?
I put spin just to get a reaction. That's so funny.
Wait, what about like the clock itself?
Yeah, actually, that's interesting.
Because I feel like the animation on like anything functional needs to be way more intentional, but like because the icon isn't really telling any specific information.
That's interesting. I don't hate this for sure.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
don't hate it either. I think it needs some refinement, but I generally like it.
Is it the best thing in the world? No. Is it?
It's pretty good.
It's not bad. I actually wouldn't mind this bouncing. Maybe also in the last const bounce. It says it says I'm not connected. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I'm not connected. Can
Oh, I think we lost Adnan. Okay, well, let's give like just a minute. But if, yeah, okay, yeah, we lost that one. I think we'll wrap it up then. I can share a little bit on what I've been playing with on the design side. It's not much, but it's honest work. Um, as we chatted about, I created like a really basic model for confirming the player list, and I think it is a good idea to have like a randomized order something feature function. Um, yeah, Adnan said you just have to wrap up on your own. Will do, boss. All right, so that's the model itself, and then I thought about like having an edit players button here, but essentially it just closes the modal and go to this list and lets the teacher edit any specific name that they maybe had a typo on or something. Once they are ready with their player list and they're happy with the order of the players, then they can create game, and then we go into the first round. I did a little bit of adjustments in the background as Adnan was coding, not too much because I was distracting Adnan, but basically the round information will be up top, and then yeah, this needs a little bit of work because we don't need to repeat this. So TBD on exactly what goes here. And then this should say 1. Maybe there's just nothing here. Maybe that's okay. Actually, I'll keep it for now and just add some TBD. I make comments for myself, even though I'm the one doing the design work itself. It's more just me leaving tasks for future version of Mary. There should not be an end game button here. So let me get rid of that because we don't need that in our lives. And then start round should be right aligned. Oh, that's the wrong corner. There we go. So start round is in the corner, and then starting around go into each of the turns. Each of the turn the player eliminated will be indicated by this visual. Any upcoming players that have not gone yet, maybe we'll keep the styling the same. I'll do that at a different time. And then the current player will be highlighted like so. We're not going to do the comment, so here is this alternative version. I think we will probably be playing around with the timer a little bit more over time, but now is not that time. And once the answer is revealed, like so, then the teacher can reveal whether the student has answered correctly or incorrectly. Here we have some suggestions from me on keyboard navigation, just in case that's easier. But maybe that's out of scope. If the answer is correct, they get a celebration thing. I think I had a comment about making like a confetti animation here, just like sprinkling all the way down. And then if they get it wrong, I'm thinking of creating some sort of animation that like just raindrops, sad raindrops. And then it goes to the next turn. When the round finish, they will get a different round overview. So this, as you can see, or maybe you cannot see, I've written round 2 plus versus, oh, Jesus. Versus the other design was just for the first round because there's different information specific to rounds after the first one. So really the only information is like however many players remain, listing the players again here. And I think this is just a comment for myself, stick to the same order because we'll talk about that as well. And then from round 2 onward, you can then end the game early. So if the teacher run out of time, they can end the game and still be able to display who are the remaining players and any highlights. Lastly, this is just a quick mock-up of a potential game results screen. I want to make it a little bit more fun. I don't know. But so far, I like the information hierarchy here. So highlighting who the winner is, and then again, making a note for my future self, create design for cases where the game ends early, essentially. And yeah, that's it. I think next time, which honestly, we have no idea when that will be. It could be tomorrow, it could be next Friday. We'll probably work on it a little bit throughout the week rather than next Friday. But yeah, I think we're making good progress. So I am going to stop sharing my screen. Thank you for coming to another episode of Product Like It's Friday on Friday. Yeah, I'm feeling really good about the progress we've made so far. And we'll see you next week.